I'm Sean Small, and I'm with Urban Talent Management. I can tell you how it started. I was 6 years old. I remember sitting cross-legged on the veranda with my magnifying glass. A letter from my stepdad. He thought I'd grow up to be a scientist, angling it just right so the light would shine in a point on the ant I had been stalking. I remember the sizzle and the way they'd squirm, and then a pop, and it'd explode. Later, I'd catch bugs and spiders. I'd pin them to a wall and watch them die slowly. Control. Power. It was my world, and I was God. It didn't stop there. You'd eventually get bored of the little things. My first real kill was my sister Annie's cat. You know how aloof cats can be. The animal hated me, so I taught it a lesson. And my sister, too, always calling me weird and freak. I strangled it with my bare hands and hung its head from a hook over her bed so she'd see it first thing in the morning when she woke up. They sent me to a shrink after that. But I was smarter than him. Within 2 months, he'd sent me home with a letter to my parents saying, "Boys will just be boys." I kept things quiet for a while after that. Bugs, snakes, rats, birds. Well, any small animal I could get my hands on. In fact, there's a great pleasure and power that comes from watching something die. Staring into its eyes as it draws its last breath, it's almost pleasurable. I'd always been a loner, no friends at school or college. It was nobody's fault. I just didn't like people much. But I liked her. Hair that ran like chocolate milk down her back, bright emerald eyes, like Annie's cat. I tried to talk to her. I even sent her a letter telling her how I feel, but she just ignored me. Then one day I heard her telling her friend how she thought I was a freak. That word again. Nobody was supposed to use that word, especially not her. She worked in a coffee shop in the center of town. I knew she was working that night and that she'd be locking up. I'd seen her do it before. So I waited till she locked up. I grabbed her from behind and shoved a tissue soaked in chloroform over her face. She slunk into my arms, and I put her in the car. I drove back to my room and carried her in. She looked so beautiful, lying on my bed. I stripped her naked and tied her to the posts of my bed and spent the night watching her sleep. She woke the next afternoon. silly bitch started screaming, so I had to stuff her panties into her mouth. She kept crying, struggling. We made love for the next few days. Oh, she pretended to struggle, and she cried often. She must have really been moved by it. I fed her properly every day. I washed her. I took her to the toilet. I treated her like a princess. Any woman would be thankful for that kind of attention. On the last day, she bit me while we were making love. So I pulled the panties out of her mouth and wrapped them around her neck. I stared into her eyes as she drew her last breath. Power, pleasure, the release.